All right, football fans. Well, we promised you English football content, and we are delivering. This is the World Cup Match Day 1 through 3 recap. On we have live from neighboring Bahrain, Naif Fahed. How you doing, buddy?
Dude, I'm through the roof, man. I'm through the roof. I swear to God, it all feels like a dream, man.
Oh man! Of course, as we all know, Naif is a Saudi national, and we will absolutely get to that game. One of the best games in World Cup history, one of the biggest upsets in World Cup history for many reasons. But we're going to go ahead and start with the first game. Ecuador beating the host Qatar 2-0. This was the first ever host team to not win their opening day match. A little embarrassing, but what did you see from this game?
Man, I never thought Qatar really stood a chance, to be honest. I expected more out of Ecuador. It seemed like they just had that one lethal striker in Valencia. It's been killing the Turkish league. Um, but yeah, Qatar had a couple of opportunities, man. They had one like right outside of the goal, just the goalie and one of their forwards they missed. And then another thing, I didn't know Sully Montari is playing for Qatar. He had a nice shot that almost went in. But yeah, outside of those two chances, I didn't really see much from Qatar. I told you last time that Ecuador would be moving on. I mean, getting a win is great, but they didn't look great. So I don't know. I have my reservations on that, to be honest. That's what I saw.
Yeah. Of course, Inter Valencia had both of the goals, and he became an instant the hero. He had the whole first day of the World Cup to himself. He played really well. I didn't even expect him to do that well. I was focused more on Stupinian, Caicedo. I thought those guys were going to be well, but like you said, Inter Valencia, doesn't he play for Besiktas or something like that? He plays for
Yep.
Turkish. Yeah. So he is in a very respectable team in Europe, so he did very well. I thought, like you mentioned, the Qatar offense got it going in the second half. They had some pretty decent chances. That one where it kind of just sailed over the goal on the hop, and then
Yeah.
they had some nice headers. Um, they had their chances, but they just couldn't finish. Their finishing wasn't great, and that was really the difference in this game. So we'll move on to the bludgeoning. England beating Iran 6-2. My first note on this game, and then I'll give it to you. So Harry Maguire, having started only 3 games for Manchester United this year, started this game for Team England, and Trent Alexander-Arnold, who, in my opinion, is one of the best attacking defenders in all of England, in the English Premier League, one of the star players on Liverpool, did not play at all, did not even sub in this game, and they had plenty of opportunities to sub him in. I thought that was kind of an interesting move. We'll see. Maybe it doesn't really matter against Iran, but we'll see. How they pull these rotations as the tournament moves on. What did you think of this game?
Yeah, I think you might have backed the wrong Muslim country, man. Um, there was no do Iran going on in that last game. But,
Oh, there were chants of do Iran. I heard them.
I couldn't hear him over the goals. No, honestly, England are who we thought they were. They're dominant. I didn't see Jude Bellingham, incredible. First of all, um, good on Iran to score those 2 goals, but I don't know how good your competition is if Harry Maguire and Raheem Sterling are playing that well, to be honest. But I did see a lot from England. I hope they can keep it up and make your prediction right with them bringing it home, but I don't know, man. It's just England feasting on a bad team. That's what I saw, to be honest.
Yeah,
But, props to Iran for not quitting.
that's
Props
true.
to Iran for being able to score those 2 goals. Any other team probably would have folded.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's early in the tournament, but talk of feasting on bad teams. There have been a lot of good teams in these first 3 days that haven't feasted on bad teams. So there is something to be said about how they're finishing. England's incredible offensive weapons. You mentioned a few of them. Jude Bellingham, who's not even in the EPL. but was incredible. Raheem Sterling, you know, as much as he gets maligned, he was great at Manchester City, and he has started to come on at Chelsea, and he played well today. He had 2 goals, could have had a third if he wasn't subbed off. Saka, Rashford, Grealish, all scored, and that means there are more goals coming for Harry Kane and Phil Foden and Callum Wilson. Not to mention Trippier being one of the best at set pieces and delivering quality balls. I just think this team is incredibly, incredibly dangerous.
They're
Um,
stacked, man. They're
they're
stacked.
absolutely
They're
stacked.
definitely stacked. Yeah.
Absolutely. And after these first 3 days, I'm even more convinced that they're gonna at least make it to the final or at least the final four. Like you mentioned, Iran, they didn't give up. Taremi he's a very formidable striker, I have to say. I think he'll have more success against the U.S. and Wales. He already had 2 goals in this game. I know they were late in this game, but there was a great, strike there that hit the top of the post and went in and converted on the penalty. Not everyone converts on penalties, as we'll see later in this podcast. One note I'll mention kind of outside of the game. So Iran seems to be distracted by what's going on with their home politics for a number of reasons. One, they showed them during the national anthem. None of the players were singing the national anthem. It seems to be a sign of protest. And then after, in the post game, there were also, they had alluded to this strife that's going on at home, talking about something about like a rainbow or something like that, alluding to, power to the people against the government and things like that. So there is absolutely things about this team that are not related to football that is distracting them, and it's tough to see because this comes only once every 4 years, and the fact that they got in and are able to have an opportunity here, I hope they can refocus against the U.S. and Wales. So we'll move on to the Netherlands beating Senegal 2-0. I thought Holland had a strong defense, especially to start this game. Van Dijk and Ake, they showed that they're high-quality defenders and kept everything out of the goal, and that kind of set the tone for this game. What did you think?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of went as I predicted. I had it. We have this fantasy group called Coda Kings where you select the winner and the score. I actually had it as 2-0 Netherlands. So, in the beginning it looked competitive. It looked like Senegal was going to put up a fight and it might come down to the wire. But there towards the end, I think Holland's talent really just showed out. And, they scored those 2 goals and Senegal really couldn't mount any attack. I think they're really suffering from not having Sadio Mane out there on the field. I think with Mane they would have had a chance because it seems like that's all they're really missing. But yeah, Netherlands look good, man. The Dutch look really good.
Yeah.
That's what I took from that game.
Yeah. Despite this being a 2-0 game, this was absolutely a defensive battle. It was scoreless up until the 85th minute. Another takeaway I had is that Edouard Mendy, the Senegal goalie, he was once a world-class goalie, and I don't really see him as that anymore. I think he makes a lot of mistakes. That second goal he could have had, it kind of just bounced off of him, and the guy, rebounded it into the net. That's not a move a world-class goalie should make.
He didn't get a lot of burn, too, this year. I mean, he was hurt at times. If you follow the EPL, I'm sure you noticed that. But even for Chelsea, he hasn't been playing well.
Yeah.
All year, to be honest.
He got replaced by Kepa, so he's not even the starter right now. I think he's going to start declining. And even, maybe I may be biased, but even when they played against Egypt, he wasn't that special. I mean, they didn't give him a lot of opportunities, like they have a good defense. But also another note on Holland, I guess it doesn't really matter again because this team isn't that formidable, but Depay didn't start the game. He didn't come in maybe until the 65th minute or something like that. I'm not sure why. I guess they believe in some of these other younger guys on their team, but we'll see if they're going to start him as the tournament goes on. Moving on to Team USA, tying Wales 1-1. It's weird to talk about ties, huh? But U.S. had some great chances in the first half, and they should have had 3 goals, man. I mean, they really, there was that really close header. There was another strike really close to the goal where they just hit the outside of the goal instead of in it. And I thought overall they squandered this game and had a big opportunity here. What did you think?
Exactly, man. My sentiments exactly. I mean, first of all, I'm not. I guess I'm not super plugged into USMNT, but I didn't know that George Weah's son was playing on that team. That's crazy. He scored their only goal. But yeah, I think the US just gave up 2 points, man. They should have 3 points after this game. Of course, Gareth Bale's going to secure that penalty. Um, I think Wales are lucky to come out with 1 point, to be honest. But I still stick with my prediction of U.S. coming in second in this group. It looks like England and U.S. are the favorites if the U.S. can capitalize. But Wales still have a chance now. I think Elon's out of it. That's what I saw, really. A game that the U.S. should have won but did not.
Yeah, as far as if we're comparing predictions here, the fact that the U.S. and Wales tied this game actually, even though Iran conceded 6 goal, they have a 4 goal differential at this point. They still have no other team that has 3 points other than England. So if Iran can seize these next 2 games, it's kind of a best case scenario compared to where it was for a long time during this game. But yeah, man, dumb penalty given up with 10 minutes left in the game. I mean, he went through him. We'll talk about this more later. There have been a lot of questionable penalty calls, but this was like the most clear penalty call. You can't play through a player like that. Put your leg through a player. Matt Turner, the USA goalie, I thought he played surprisingly well. Other than that one header, very very late in the game, at the end of the game, where he came out a quarter of the way through the field and had an anxious retreat back, and that player Acosta had to get a yellow card and tackle Bale though to prevent a goal from half field. Kiefer Moore for Wales, he's this. What is he 6'4", 6'5", Welsh striker. Came in the second half and really gave him a spark. That's when they actually started to put shots on goal, and I would be surprised if he didn't start the next game. I think he really should. And like you mentioned,
they need the attack.
What's that?
They definitely need the attack. I feel.
Yeah, big time, big time.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, Bale, he got it done, but he isn't the same player he used to be. Even the penalty, if you notice, was touched by the goal. Yeah, they have those boom mics right next to the goal, and I heard it before I saw it, and it looked like he had stopped it, but there was just too much momentum on it, and it went in. So I just don't think I don't think he's the same player he was. I remember him being a great player, and now he's kind of older. But yeah, another peripheral point to this is, I mentioned this before. I like how the Americans don't dive as much as the rest of the world, except for Pulisic, who has learned acting from the best of them on Chelsea and playing against Manchester City and all these teams that love to dive. So that's one thing I respect about the American team, if nothing else. Yeah. All right, moving on to the game of the tournament. Saudi beating Argentina. 2-1. Floor is yours.
Dude, this is a scoreline we expected, right? I mean, we all thought Saudi would come out with these 3 points. Dude, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's insane. Nobody believed outside of the players, and honestly, I don't know if all the players really believed, but outside of the players and the coach, I don't think anybody believed. And then, not just that, man. I mean, the energy was just insane. I saw a lot of comments where people are like, Saudi paid off the refs. I don't know what the hell they're talking about. I mean, those offsides are not debatable, that whole new technology. And then I actually felt like there was a bias in favor of Argentina. Their first goal that, we talked about this on the group.
Oh, we talked about it already.
Yeah, it looked like a clear dive. Man, you got to give it up to these guys. They played their hearts out. I feel like you're either rooting for Saudi. I mean, Saudis were rooting for Saudi. The Argentinians were rooting for Argentina. And everybody else who was neutral was also rooting for Saudi. It's a crazy underdog story. We were talking about it during the game, dude. Even after we scored that second goal, I think I said I'd still be happy with a point. because it just seemed like the ref wanted Argentina to score. And with all that extra time that he gave them, and you got to give it up to the goalie. The goalie was unbelievable.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, the whole team played. Can't single out a single player and tell you that this guy didn't play well. Everybody played well, and I think it took everything just to secure those 3 points. If you change anything, it would have been a different game. I mean, prior Saudi teams would have folded after that first goal, and they just kept coming, man. They just kept coming. They just kept stopping them. That high line was incredible, and dude, Argentina got lazy, man. They got lazy because they could have. Those could have been goals if they just delayed it by like a tenth of a second. Any one of those runs, but they kept cheating, and thank God for the technology, because I feel like in other World Cups, some of them would have probably counted. They were that close. Nobody saw this coming, man. Over 3 years without a loss. I think they went 36 games since their last loss, and they lost to Brazil. Then they just lost to Brazil of Asia, though. And, dude, we're all on hopium here, man. It's crazy. I should be at work today, but we're all off. The King gave everybody an off day today. It's national holiday. The energy is insane, and props to Saudi, and I'm sorry to the whole team. I did not see this coming. I doubted you guys, even when we were up 2-1 in extra time. I doubted them, but they played a heck of a game, and hopefully we can advance to the round of 16.
Yeah, everything you're going to hear from me here is exactly what you heard from me in the group chat. I was fired up, man. I was up at 5 a.m. watching this game, and you're absolutely right. The ref didn't want to give him a chance to win this game early in the game. I mean, that penalty was one of the worst awarded penalties I've ever seen. And the fact that they waited so long to look at it, and the ref ran to that VAR station to go look at it. The guy in Argentina very clearly dived, and all these Argentinian players, they all dive and they all act, and it's just like really embarrassing. And so, I was thinking to myself, man, there's already a favorite. Everyone wants a Messi, Ronaldo World Cup. They're really, really trying to fix this game, and all the social media on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, all this stuff, they're pushing. Once Messi got that goal, everybody was just ready to push out all that media about Messi. And then they were like, yeah, okay, well, Messi got his, it can be 1-0. We can rest the rest of the game. Nothing else is going to happen. They continued playing that high line. There were like four instances where it absolutely should have been a goal for Argentina, but they held that high line. And that kind of discipline from that team is something you see usually from like elite teams that have been playing together for a long time. And I figured out, somebody said 9 of the 11 starters play on, what is it, El Hilal or something?
8 of the 11 starters, I believe. Yeah.
8. Okay, so they know how to play together. This is a very similar situation that Egypt had in a lot of the Africa Cups. A lot of them played for Ahli. They know how to play with each other. They know how to communicate about keeping that high line. But man, those goals, undeniable. Like some goals a ref can like take away from a team. These goals, they couldn't do it. There was no room for it. That Lewandowski.
Bro, that second goal was. I think it's the goal of the World Cup so far. To be honest, dude, he made him do the salsa. It was incredible, man. He went in and out, and then boom.
And then that backflip. Oh man, legendary. The stuff of legends, man. And go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think some of these players. I mean, we might see one of these players end up in Europe after this World Cup.
That would be fun.
He's a prime candidate.
That would be fun. That would be fun to see. And, further talking about the way this ref officiated the game, 6 yellow cards for Saudi compared to 0 for Argentina. You don't see that. I mean, that sort of stuff shouldn't happen. Anytime Argentina committed a foul, it wasn't a card. Anytime Saudi did, it was a card. And also there were times where Saudi was subbing players off that the ref was pushing the Saudi player to get off. You're not supposed to do stuff like that. And after the Saudi goalie got fouled, he just yelled at the ref that he got fouled, and he gave him a card.
Yeah, a card, yeah.
And if you notice, all the free kicks that were given to Argentina were on the right side of the box, knowing that that's where Messi takes his free kicks. Every single one of them. I think there were at least three of them, and he botched
Yeah.
all three of them. But they set him up so well to try to get that another one of those free kick goals. Like you said, they extended the game by like an extra 10 minutes. Even though I hope that guy's okay. That guy that got that head injury, but he was not down for 10 minutes. He was not down for 10 minutes. But they kept extending, and it was just extremely, extremely impressive. And I'm looking forward to what they do in the rest of the games here. Um,
Yeah, just a word on the defender, man. Thoughts and prayers to him. He actually fractured his jaw, broke 3 teeth, and has internal bleeding. So he's gonna be out for the rest of the World Cup.
Speedy recovery, man.
Yeah,
That's
goalie
tough.
just Masvidal'd him, bro. He hit him with that flying knee. It was,
That was tough. That was tough.
yeah,
But the fact that he was throwing the thumbs up at the end, I was very happy to see that. That was one of
yeah,
the worst soccer injuries I've seen, like head injuries, to get hit twice, knee to the head, and then bounce off.
yeah.
But man, kudos to Saudi. I'm going to be very intrigued. Seeing what Saudi and Argentina does the rest of this tournament is going to be very intriguing to me. So,
Win, lose, or draw, we're all proud, man.
absolutely,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. And we'll move on to the other teams in their group. Or no, these teams aren't in their group. Denmark and Tunisia. No, they're with Mexico and
No,
Poland, right?
no, yeah.
Yeah. So we'll move on to Denmark and Tunisia, who tied today 0-0. Just a quick note on this: both teams had goals disallowed by offside, but to me, this was a defensive battle. 0-0 is a very unique thing that you really only see in group play in the World Cup. It's kind of an unsatisfying result to me. But what did you think?
Dude, Tunisia's goalie. Incredible performance.
Mm.
Incredible performance. Going into the match, I was expecting Denmark to win, but I was thoroughly impressed with Tunisia's play, man. They were trying to attack. They didn't get a lot of shots on target, but they really tried to attack Denmark, which could leave you vulnerable, especially going up against a team that plays that well. It's a team that beat France twice, as I mentioned last time. But yeah, the goalie was just incredible, man. I was really rooting for Tunisia, and I'm really happy they were able to come out with a point at least. But dude, they could have won this game. Could have came out with 3. Could have gone any way. But I think they'll be all right with taking the point, especially when everybody probably doubted them. But I'm just happy for these Muslim and Arab countries, man. They're doing their thing, especially after Qatar folded that first game.
Yeah.
Hope to see some more from Morocco today, shortly. A couple hours, man.
That would be crazy if they do to Croatia. Croatia is no joke.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. A lot of these Arab teams, man, they have great goalies. Like that's a thing. Like that's what they pride themselves on, like having great goalies. Egypt too. I'm going to talk about Egypt because I'm Egyptian. I wish they were here, but they also have an amazing goalie who stopped multiple PKs during African Cups and things like that. But I love that they know that that's so vital to this game to have a good goalie, and they're really focusing on it. Saudi, Tunisia, teams like that. Jebeli, the Tunisian striker, I think he's a very, very solid striker. He had a lot of chances. That offside goal was his. There was another chip that Kasper Schmeichel just barely touched, and there were 2 or 3 more where I think he should have scored for sure. As he continues to focus, hopefully he puts some in. Denmark missed some sure goals in this game. I mean, that one header that is all over social media now, that nobody was in front of him. He was inches from the goal, and nobody was in front of him, and he headed the ball, and I guess the ball was just spinning too much, and it just spun right off his head.
It's the baraka, bro. It's the baraka, bro.
I guess. Yeah, Allah put a wall there in front of him, I guess. It was amazing, but yeah, both. I thought both goalies were immense. One is to be expected. Kasper Schmeichel, he's a world class goalie, but the Tunisian goalie, like you mentioned, has really started to
I did not know
to
him.
emerge.
Man. I knew nothing about him, honestly.
Yeah.
But now he's on my radar for sure.
Definitely. Yeah, and one final note on this game, I thought the Fox announcer here was pretty bad as I was watching some of this game.
Don't do that, man. Why would you do that?
I'm not gonna say anything. I just thought they weren't. There was like times where they called the goal and they were like, "Oh, go!" And it was like clearly off. Like they had already called offsides, but the announcer was still celebrating the goal, and there were multiple moments like that. I'm not going to say anything else. I just think I know people agree with me. So
Yeah.
we'll move on to Mexico tying Poland 0-0. Lewandowski missing the penalty here. Um, Still doesn't have a World Cup goal. What did you think in this game?
I hope we can keep it that way, but it's gonna be hard. Yeah, Lewandowski should have definitely hit that penalty. It was a great save by this guy, man, who just seems to show up every single World Cup. Mexico's goalie Ochoa is incredible.
Oh,
He's on the ground.
Abdullah, I think is on the call. Are you on here?
What's up, guys?
Hey, how's it going, bro?
Okay.
We have now Abdullah live from Qatar. He's been there. He's been to multiple games, and we were talking about the Mexico-Poland game. But I want to just let you talk about what your experience has been like there so far.
Yeah, so far it's been amazing. The first World Cup in the Middle East, I will say that one of the best things is how organized it's been. There's been a lot of staff and people in the stadiums and outside the stadiums. You can tell they invested a lot of money. The only thing is navigating the stadiums, trying to get out of there, has been a nightmare. But like the stadiums are brand new, they're beautiful. Right now I'm at El Bayt. The stadium's out in the middle of the desert. We had to come here like 2 hours before kickoff. Yeah. But it's one of the most beautiful stadiums I've ever seen in my life.
Wow, amazing, amazing. And what games have you seen live so far?
I was at France versus Australia last night. The night before, I was at what was the first game I went to? It was Senegal against Netherlands, and now I'm at Morocco versus inshallah, man. Morocco against Croatia.
Yeah, they got this, man.
Yeah, it's a 90% Moroccan crowd right now.
Yeah, I see the guy behind you is like the most Moroccan guy I've ever seen in my life. It looks like they have like Moroccan designs like all across the. Yeah, let's go Maghreb.
Let me show you guys the stadium. Look
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. Amazing. That looks just like Anfield, bro.
Red, bro. It's just red. It's a sea of red.
Oh my gosh. That looks like it looks like Anfield.
Yeah, I mean the pitch is beautiful.
Amazing, amazing. Abdullah, what did you see in the Senegal-Netherlands game? I want to get your analysis of that game.
Yeah, I thought it was a very close game. It looked like a 0-0, and two mistakes by the goalkeeper led to a 2-0. But I thought it was kind of harsh on Senegal to lose that game. I think that expected goals was actually in their favor. So that's football for you sometimes, Sometimes you can be the better team and still not win. But again, I thought they kind of took over a little bit the Netherlands towards the end of the first half and the second half. Frankie de Jong was one of the best performances I've seen him have this year. He was kind of bossing the midfield. He was getting to good spaces. And big loss for Senegal was Sadio Mane. Not having Sadio Mane there was a big loss for them because they were missing a little bit of creativity in Senegal in the attacking third. But very close game and very unlucky for Senegal, I thought.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell me about some of the crowds that you've seen there. There's a lot of controversy coming into this. Oh, they're not going to sell alcohol. Oh, this is a conservative Muslim country. People are not going to enjoy themselves. What have you seen from the crowd?
In my opinion, I think it's one of the best things that they could have done. Being here, I can tell you that it would have ruined the experience for a lot of people. It's chaotic, especially for a country like Qatar hosting the World Cup for the first time. Having sober fans here, having things in an orderly fashion, especially exiting the stadium, and the fact that the relationship between the fans has been so cordial, I think having no alcohol here was one of the best things they could have done. And people are having a good time in the stadiums. Like, people don't need to drink alcohol to enjoy this experience. Um, what alcohol potentially could have done is caused more hostility between fans. It could have caused more issues with people getting in and out of the stadium. But this way, it's more focused on the actual experience of the actual game. Um, but personally, I think it's a good thing. Other people may have had their own opinions, but if fans feel very strongly about drinking, they can do so before the game starts. They don't need to drink at the stadium, and that's their personal choice if they decide to do that. But I don't feel like they need to drink alcohol for them to have a good experience watching their team play.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Nice. That's amazing, man. It's amazing to see that, that people are focusing more on the soccer now than like being drunk at like an event. That's what it seems like it is there. So I'm really happy to see that. And so the game we were just talking about was Mexico tying Poland 0-0.
Yeah.
Did you see any of that game?
I caught some of it. I saw them miss a penalty, and I know that Mexico and Poland are pretty close. I didn't get to watch too much of that game, but
Right.
again, I do expect one of those teams to at least make it to the round of 16.
Yeah. Well, I guess
Saudi stand a chance?
Who's that?
You don't think Saudi stand a chance?
No, Saudi Arabia. Wow. Like, how could you not be impressed with Saudi? These guys, they made their country proud. Like, that was one of the most organized. Like, they look like a prime Italy team. That's what it looked like. It looked like a prime Italy team. Organized. Everybody on the field seemed to know what their job was, their responsibilities were. And then when they attacked with purpose. They knew exactly what to do in attack. Like, they were set up very compact. They knew how to defend against the Argentinians with a high line, and they knew when they did have opportunities to attack, they attacked with purpose. So, man, respect to Saudi Arabia, and I don't know, they could be the Cinderella team. I mean, we don't know.
Let's make this an all Arab, all Muslim World Cup, man. Let's do this, man. Hopefully Morocco takes us. We're all rooting for Morocco down here, man.
Absolutely. Abdullah, did you see any Saudis dancing in the streets with their sifs?
1,000%, yes. There were Saudi flags all over the place last night. Cars beeping everywhere. People dancing. It was an amazing experience.
Wow.
And there's an area called Souk al-Waqif. It's sort of the market in Doha. It's the oldest market in Doha. There's a ton of fans all over there from Saudi, and yeah, what an experience. I mean, I'm so happy for them.
Amazing.
Yeah. If you're in Qatar, check out Abdullah's video, man, for where to go in Qatar, man. I caught that. That was hilarious, by the way. Some good stuff.
Yeah.
Trying to inject a little bit of humor into, things.
Yeah. No, definitely. And we're definitely gonna plug your. I know you said you've been vlogging it, so we're definitely gonna plug. We're gonna plug your YouTube and your vlog here at the end. I wanted to just add about this Mexico-Poland game. I thought Ochoa was, he didn't have much work during this game. I don't think Poland really tested him that much. But in that one moment where they really tested him on that Lewandowski goal, he did an incredible move where he moved one way to trick Lewandowski into thinking he was going to dive that way, and then he jumped the other way. And that's a tactic that a lot of penalty takers wait. They wait to see where the goalie is diving. So the goalie in Ochoa countered him in that way and dove one way and then went the other way. So I thought that was exceptional. Mexico peppered Poland, the Polish goalie Szczesny, with shots all game here, especially early in the game, and he was up to it. I thought Mexico looked like the better team overall, if I'm being honest with you. And I think that they have, like all you guys have mentioned, I think this Argentina, Mexico, Poland, Saudi, this is shaping up to be one of the best groups in this World Cup. And we're going to move along here to France beating Australia 4-1. Abdullah, you were at that game. I'm going to give you the floor here. What did you see there?
I'm a Real Madrid fan, and I'm not a huge fan of Mbappe, but I have to say, seeing that guy up close, I'm so impressed by him. I thought Aurelien Tchouameni looked so good. Once France went down, they sort of took over. Their midfield just had the know-how, the grit, the experience. they just seemed to be calm, and they knew that they had the talent, the experience to be able to win that game. They're a very versatile team. They don't have one way of attacking you. They have multiple ways. They can go long balls to Giroud and use them as a target man. They can play balls out wide to Dembele and to Mbappe. They have top players in the midfield who can play the ball. They can break lines in the midfield. Very impressed by France. I thought they looked better than I thought they were going to look. I can see them going deep into the competition based on what I saw yesterday. And Mbappe looked really, really good. Australia, they did the best they could. I felt like they looked strong in the first half. But France just took over. Too much quality, too many good players, too many weapons. The thing is, if you put too much effort into trying to stop them from doing one thing, they have so many different weapons they can hit you with. So France, man, so impressed with what they were able to do.
Absolutely, absolutely. Naif, what did you see in this game?
Yeah, I mean, France are exactly who we thought they were, dude. A lot of people were bummed out to see Benzema being ruled out, but I mean, we saw how France could look without Benzema last World Cup. We saw that result. We know the outcome. They looked dominant, man. And I agree with everything Abdullah said, to be honest. They are so deep. I could see them reaching the finals again. They keep this up. I actually had it as 4-0 France. So I thought they would be able to put up all those goals. I didn't see Australia scoring at all, but yeah, man, France looked terrifying.
Yeah, Australia had a great opening goal, I thought. And I actually think that when given the opportunity, they strike the ball really well. And I think they did have some great opportunities to, as we have a Moroccan fan here coming in and out. I thought that when given the chance, I think Australia can strike the ball really well. The only problem is they're not very creative. And they get kind of sloppy with how they move the ball, especially on defense and through the midfield. So I think that was kind of, and of course they're playing France, so but France is tremendous at putting balls in the box and converting on those. Mbappe had, like you guys mentioned, a few amazing touch passes, back heel flicks, and assists. I mean, that's where he really shone, honestly. Like, he is a tremendous goal scorer, but as a facilitator and his vision, that's where he excels. Like you mentioned, Giroud wasn't supposed to start in this game. That was Benzema's spot. But the fact that they had Giroud to come and play in this game with all that experience, did you guys know that Giroud has the second most goals all time for France, one behind Thierry Henry? He has 50 goals for France, and Thierry Henry has 51. So there's a chance he becomes the all-time leading goal scorer for France in this tournament. I thought he was tremendous. I mean, Giroud was like a really underrated addition to this team as he was thrust into the starting lineup. But yeah, so those are the games so far. I have some overall takeaways, and we can just have you guys, give your overall takeaways so far. One thing I think is kind of interesting, they have like a countdown before the game where they count down, but it doesn't seem like the players wait for that. Like, it's never been that they start at the end of that countdown. So I'm not sure why they have it, or they're not in sync. And also in the England game, people were kneeling while Iran wasn't even paying attention to anything. I don't know. I thought that was kind of weird. But another thing that I want you guys both to weigh in on here is, I think the refereeing has been pretty bad for being in the World Cup, to be honest with you, especially in those subjective penalty calls. A lot of them have been very late, and it's one of those things that you have to make a split-second decision on a lot of these calls, and they're not doing it. They're waiting for sometimes a minute after, and it's starting to feel to me a little bit like boxing, in that there's a lot of subjectivity and there could be manipulation from other people. What are your overall takeaways about, in general, the World Cup, but then also the refereeing?
Yeah, dude, I think the refereeing has just been absolutely atrocious, to be honest. We spoke about this earlier. Abdullah, we were talking about the Saudi game. I honestly felt like the ref was waiting for Argentina to score a goal, and he was trying to help them any which way he could. That whole penalty, we spoke about how it was a dive. There have been some questionable calls from these refs, to be honest, but that's my takeaway on the reffing. But yeah, I mean, just overall takeaways. for Saudi, man, I'm just happy. I feel like we're playing with house money, and I'm proud of our guys, whether we make it to the next round or not. And it's still early in the cup to give you a much deeper dive when it comes to these overall takeaways. So I'll wait on that.
Yeah. Abdullah.
Yeah, it's. I thought that penalty call was ridiculous. There's no way that's a penalty. Like, the thing is, FIFA is always making these adjustments to the game. The offside rule. This is the first World Cup with referees that are women. They have new technology. Like, I understand that, but let's not call soft things like that. Like, a little bit of contact in the box doesn't mean it's a penalty. So, I don't know. Let's see how this pans out. I'm sure they're going to be talking to one another, but calls like that, they need to be having conversations, getting together and saying, hey, look, let's make sure that we're calling real fouls, not things that are soft. It ruins the experience for the fans. We want teams to earn their goals, we don't want people to be gifted goals. So we'll see.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's going to conclude the recap of match day 1 through 3 here in the World Cup. I really want to thank you guys for jumping on. Abdullah, I know that you have been vlogging a lot of your experience there. Do you have anything to plug your YouTube channel or whatever you're promoting it through there?
Yeah, I'm vlogging out here. The YouTube channel is called Get Away My Abs. And yeah, I'm going to be vlogging. I'm actually leaving here and then going immediately to the Germany-Japan game. So that game is, I have like 1 hour to get from here to that other stadium. I'm going to vlog the whole thing. And yeah, so hopefully good games, and I hope Morocco wins, I got
What are your
Morocco
expectations?
right here.
What are your expectations for these games today?
I think Germany wins, but I don't think that's an easy game. The Morocco game, I think this is going to be a tough game. I can see a draw. Morocco has a good team on paper. But obviously, Croatia has Luka Modric. They have some of the best players in Europe. But the question is, they're a little bit aging. Are they going to perform with a young, hungry Moroccan team that's very strong? And they're young. And it's going to be a very Moroccan crowd here. So, let's see.
Let's go
I
Morocco.
think it's going to be close. It's going to be close.
Yeah.
Maghreb.
Yeah. Naif, do you have anything to plug here?
I have nothing to plug, but go Saudi, go Morocco, go every Arab Muslim country, man. Let's do this. Let's do this.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, thank you guys so much. This has been the Football v Football podcast. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Twitter. You can listen to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor, and you can watch it on YouTube as well as support it on Ko-fi. Naif Fahed from Bahrain, but in Saudi in spirit. Abdullah, live from Qatar. Thank you so much for joining, bro. We hope to have you on future podcasts as well. Thank you so much for joining, and have a fantastic day, football fans. Enjoy the rest of the World Cup.
Thanks for having me, guys.